Sawadee Kap, good morning. Welcome again to Atum Ra Raw. I'm Atum and I'm raw vegan, working to be breatharian every single day. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about ultimate goals, about spirituality as well as physical growth. I think that a lot of our society, which I am so proud of these days, for what we'd say is awakening or just coming back into knowledge of self and that everything that's out here is inside of us. So people are coming back into that knowledge. But I wanted to talk about it because a lot of people, I hear it all the time, a lot of people are preparing themselves as if they're ready to leave this plane. But we have to understand that this is our proverbial Garden of Eden, the earth or heart. Yeah, chakra. Earth is just another anagram for that word. And so I'm always hearing my friends and like-minded individuals online and whatnot always saying like, I'm trying to change, I'm trying to ascend and leave this plane or whatnot. Myself included, I used to often be like, oh yeah, everything here is terrible and it's time for me to go into the stars and whatnot, which I'm not saying that is a bad thing at all. We are all galaxy jumpers, and we should travel the stars. But it's not always so necessary to say we have to burn this bridge in order to cross that next one. So I wanted to specifically talk about what our goal. Well, of course, I always want to talk about it from my perspective. What my personal goal in life is. I realize that a lot of the what we consider problems and whatnot in the world from a lot of people, myself included, stemmed from a time where we were already in transition. See, for many of us, because of the societies we grew up in, we were told that schooling, education system was the end all be all. If you weren't successful in that, you're not successful in life. And that brought us into so many different other realms of thinking. We brought competition, competing for mates, competing for love, competing for best grades, competing for actual competitions. Oh wow, it worked. I saved this. There was a huge scarab beetle this morning, and it was upside down. I just moved a chair next to it to help it flip itself back over. So he just managed to do it. So good up on him. That's another sign. Scarab beetles means transformation, so that means we're talking about the right thing. There you go. You saw him fly past. So back on topic. So the transformation or I'm sorry, the thing that we were trying to do in high school really or high school, middle school, our adolescence phase of transitioning from age, I said 13 to what we considered young adult was very traumatic for a lot more people than a lot of us actually know. Because at that age, we're still pretty much learning how to talk. And I carried a lot of traumas from that. I hear it from people all the time who are saying that they carried a lot of traumas from when they were in high school and whatnot. But those years actually formed the basis of a lot of our thought processes for the rest of our lives. And ultimately, one thing that everybody in every culture pretty much said was enjoy your childhood because you're never going to get your childhood back, blah, blah, blah. But we in the last 100 years, maybe even a little more than that, didn't get a chance to enjoy our childhoods. It wasn't a free world so much to say where a kid can sit down all day and explore all the realms of his thoughts or her thoughts or just move their body like a kid would and then and learn from that. No, most of us were indoctrinated in those systems where when we wanted to move, they told us sit down. Where we wanted to speak, they told us shut your mouth. And it really was damning to a lot of us. So we never really actually got that chance to experience our childhood. And then fast forward, we get thrown into this world where we're paying bills, we're fighting for survival, we're fighting for all of those things. And those things kept a lot of us in our root chakras. Not to say that root chakra is a bad thing, it gives us strength, it's our spine in a sense. But at the same time, it was something that we have to evolve from. So that's what made many people start to think like, if this is all there is to life, if I have to be this drone slaving and not really having a goal, then yes, I'm ready to jettison myself out of this world of suffering. But you have to remember that suffering and things of that nature are all a matter of perception. You see, I talk about it all the time. I'm here in Thailand. It's beautiful right now. The sun is out. Yeah, there's some clouds in the sky. Yeah, there's cars moving past my my domain right now. But none of that interferes with what my mind is saying. I woke up this morning. I woke up this morning. You woke up this morning if you're watching this. So therefore there's so much brilliance and beauty and perfection in that you just have to know. You have to see. And yeah, we have things that we have to take care of, but those are also things that we chose. Any day. It's is it tough? Yes, but any day all of us could wake up and say, this life that I've built around me, these people, these friends, this place I'm in, I don't choose that place anymore. And we can move away. And I'm not just talking in the physical sense. Well, I am, but you understand what I mean by move away. We create our world every single day, which is why we're God. Because no one else has put these things. There's people who have influenced the things that you have chosen, but ultimately you choose that life every day. So for me, my objective is not to so much leave this world because, oh, it's messed up. It's not. The world's not messed up. Your perception of the world is messed up. You fix your perception, the world will start to improve. And then it will actually start to improve on the physical. Anyways, so my goal is to be more like that child version of myself before all of those influences and before the world told me, you need to know what you're doing with your life. You need to know this and this and that. You need to have this career and all of those things. So, in order to be the closest to my childlike self, I mentally try to think back to what it was like to be a child. And I do things physically like I did when I was a child. You see how I mentioned down here? Let me just go ahead and turn my camera a little bit so you guys can see. Down here is the street nearest my house. It's not a real main street, it just happens to be morning time, so there's a lot of traffic going through. But I was up here the other day, and there I actually saw two boy children, walking down the street. And they were just having a conversation with each other. But while they were walking, one of the kids just started moving his arms like this. And he was just going. And and I was watching him, and that seems like such a strange thing to just be moving randomly because somebody told us, hey, stop, that's weird. But he just started doing it, and it looked like it was so good. And his friend that was next to him, in the middle of talking, you saw when he looked at him in the face and saw him doing this movement, and he was like, in his mind, he was like, that looks good. And he starts doing the same movement. And it reminded me so much of what it's like to be a child, where there was no restriction, but there was still a balance. I'm not saying be a rule breaker or any of those things, but there was no restriction on the things we did. So even when in our my movement practices, when I'm dancing, I dance. It doesn't matter whether it's a movement that looks weird or any of those things. I just move my body. It's that like what we used to do as children. I'm working to get the healthiest body that I can, because when you were a kid, that's when you were at your highest spiritual state. You understand? You see it in TVs all the time. Oh, kids have imaginary friends and this and this and that. There's no such thing as an imaginary friend. There's no such thing as an imaginary friend because all things that we create in our mind exist. So when your son or daughter is saying, oh, I have an imaginary friend, they are tuning into a higher frequency, hopefully higher frequency, but they're tuning into a higher frequency that you can no longer access because you don't have that same type of freedom in your spirituality, freedom in your mind, freedom in your mentality, or freedom in your physicality to even fathom what that child is talking about. You understand? So once you get rid of those blockages, now you can see the fairies too. Now you can be childlike too. And once you're childlike, you'll remember that you came here to have fun. Because this is ultimately, the Matrix isn't some prison, as people like to often say. And like I said, sometimes when things don't seem like they're going your way, me included, we like to look at this like, oh man, this is a prison sentence. But no, it's not. This is a sandbox. This is a jungle gym. This is a playground. We all, as the gamer, as player one, said, listen, I want this experience. And somewhere along the lines, we let somebody else tell us what the experience that we wanted was. And that is not accurate. We came here, we came to this arcade, this universal arcade, to say, I'm going to play it. I'm going to be the gamer, and I'm gonna fight the dragon. I'm gonna become the dragon. Oh, that would be amazing, right? So once you start to tap back into that childhood nature, you're not even worried about leaving this planet. You're going to try and make this planet as fun as possible, as amazing as possible. You want as many friends as possible, true friends, quality, because you want to be able to stay on in this sandbox as long as possible and just play. You don't want this game to get boring, and that's what a lot of people feel like right now too, especially with this lockdown and everything. They feel locked down, but that's not true. You're not locked down. You are the most unrestricted person ever. The only person who's restricting you is yourself. But it's time to become more childlike. Stop trying to run away. And I don't say this as a beat down on anybody who's very spiritual or anything, but there is no spirituality if you're not connected to this body. This was the source. This is the mother. This was the garden that we wanted to play in. One day we want to play in the ether. That's great, but don't rush to either one of them. Try and find the balance in both of them. Anyways, I don't want the video to be too long. You know how I do. I like to give it short and sweet. But wherever you are in the world right now, I'm here to help you change your perception on your reality, just like I'm doing every day. I do it through right now with my raw diet and just my meditative practices, and just I still sing. I was out performing just the other night, and it was an amazing thing. I don't go clubbing, I don't drink alcohol or any of that stuff, but I went out and I performed, and it was an amazing experience. I didn't look at my friends like they were some demons. I didn't look at any of the police or anything like they were some construct ready to put me down. They were all people out here just trying to figure it out, just like I am. And listen, we're no longer trying to figure anything out. We're kids playing, and what happens when we play is free. So feel free to feel free, okay? Feel free to feel free. I'm Atum Ra. I love you very much. I'm sending you massive vibes of positivity, massive vibes of longevity, prosperity, all of those things that you need, and you have already had it inside you. So until the next video,